welcome to Maggieville. We have a cooking segment today in my kitchen. We're going to make a really decadent chocolate dessert for chocolate lovers. We've got Valentine's Day coming up, or any romantic event that you have. This would be perfect. So we're going to dive right in. It is a trifle, which is a layered dessert, not to be confused with truffle, which is a fungus. Anyway, I had to look it up just to make sure how to pronounce it. Trifle. I was always saying trifle. Anyway, here we go. What you need is chocolate cake, and I use the Betty Crocker cake mix. I don't make things from scratch. I like the instant stuff. Also, you're going to need Cool Whip or some other kind of whipped topping. Pudding. You can use instant pudding, but I, again, want ready-made. Caramel sauce, any kind of like ice cream caramel sauce. I'm using Torani, that's my husband's favorite. And toffee bits, Heath toffee bits. Now you could also use the Butterfinger bits, depending on the flavor that you want, but I'm using the toffee bits. Okay, so we're gonna just dig right in here. It's, again, layered. So you're gonna start out with cutting your cake, bake your cake, cut your cake up into chunks, approximately an inch to an inch and a half-ish. Doesn't really matter because you're putting it in there and you're gonna pat it down as a layer. So again, it doesn't really matter the size. You could probably put cake crumbles in there, but put approximately half of the cake, and I have a small bowl here. So normally I have a trifle dish, but it's pretty big for what I want to use this for. So I didn't want to make too much and then throw it away. And it's just a small intimate gathering. So I am going to just use up what I can. So put your cake in there and just kind of pat it down to level it out, fill in some of the gaps. So I'm doing this a little bit at a time so I can get this almost perfect. Okay, and it's going to look really pretty through the glass because it's layered, but I wouldn't worry too much about making it look pretty. Just get all your ingredients in here. It's going to taste the same no matter how it looks. And I am going to layer everything so that you can see how it goes. Ooh. Obviously, I did not open this up ahead of time. All right. So put that aside. Although this isn't live, kind of live, I don't want to start over and edit it. You get to see my bloopers right as I'm doing it. Ha, ha, ha. Okay, so you got your cake layer, then you got your Cool Whip, and then the next is going to be the pudding. And it's all going to kind of come to the edge as you're adding your layers. So, keep going. So I used about half of the whipped cream. Now I'm going to use about half of the pudding. And again, if you're going to use instant pudding, you might want two boxes, depending on how big a trifle you're making. And I'm just kind of plopping this in here to get a pretty even distribution, and then I will spread it out. So we have our cake, our Cool Whip, our pudding. Now we're going to drizzle some caramel and then sprinkle some toffee bits. So drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. And don't use a whole lot. This is just to give it that caramel flavor. And of course the toffee bits are kind of a caramel flavor too, right? So just drizzle, 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 drizzle. Then I'm going to use my fingers instead of the spoon here. It's my dessert. All right, just drizzle some toffee bits on here. Now, I'm probably not going to use this whole bag. I just want some of it in here. And there's going to be another layer. And if you want, you can use a smaller container and just have a single layer, single layers, not double the layers. Which I probably will do. I have these cute little containers, Trifle Dessert containers, but I would only make one layer of each if I did that. Okay, so now we go back to the cake and put one more layer of cake. And I'm trying to kind of crumble them up a little bit so that it spreads out a little more evenly. And I'm going to have cake left over. That's what I'm going to do with the cake. I'm going to make the smaller containers. I have a gathering with some girlfriends tomorrow, so I'll get more of these other same ingredients, but I'm going to use the leftover cake. All right. Again, if I'd used my bigger dish, I would be using all of this. Okay. Get this layer on here, a little bit more. God, I love chocolate. Back to the Cool Whip. Plop, plop, plop. I gotta focus here. This is serious business. And there are other variations of this, depending on what cake and fillings you use. And I will put some suggestions down below so that if you aren't necessarily a chocolate person, there are other options. So check that out. Also, if you would please, we have some buttons. Subscribe, like, and if you can or want to, share. We would really appreciate that. Okay, so there we go. Got that on there. The Cool Whip's gone. What do we got here? Yes, pudding. Pudding, pudding, pudding. Dollop, dollop, dollop. Also, I'm finding the best place to get your pie filling, because there's some suggestions below using pie filling. Walmart. They've got the best selection of pie, different flavors of pie filling I have found. And as I'm spreading out the pudding, I'm getting quite a marbling effect with the whipped cream. My favorite, chocolate and caramel. Whew. More toffees. More toffees. And you can see I'm going to have quite a few of these left. I suppose if you're going to make a huge one, I wouldn't do any more than 2 of each layers, because serving it becomes more difficult. So if you want to make a bigger quantity, I would suggest a wider bowl, not a higher bowl. Just my suggestion. We are done. So for very little time, other than preparing the cake ahead of time, you've got an excellent dessert to take to a potluck, or if you're having a dinner at home. Again, you can use something like small containers and make a single layer. If you're having another couple over for dinner and you want to have individual desserts, these are so fun when you make individual desserts. Voila! Maggieville Trifle. There you go. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know. In the meantime, thank you for joining in, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.